Sanskrit term.
पुण्य श्लोक के कीर्तये यदु.
Little louder, please. What did you say?
पुण्य श्लोके कीर्तय यदु.
Punya shloka kirtaya. Punya shloka kirtaya. Very good. Perfect answer. Yes, Ravindra bro. आपका हाथ उठा हुआ है तो मैंने सोचा आप बोलेंगे. बोलिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna appeared for the welfare of this world, and the prayers of Sutapa and Prishni.
Yes. Who are presently as
Vasudev and Devaki.
Yes. So Krishna appears in reciprocation of Vasudev and Devaki, who previously prayed as Sutapa and Prishni. Very good. Very good. What are the other reasons? Yes, Sonika.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, for the welfare of demigods and to kill the demons who are against them or who are jealous of them.
Yes, to kill the asuras who are envious of the demigods. Yes, very good. Pradeep? Are you in or you are out? You are always in.
I know only these 3 points.
No, there are other points. Pranav?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The world is overburdened by sins, so Brahmaji prayed. Brahmaji prayed for Supreme Lord's appearance.
Yes. To release the burden of the world and to answer the prayers of Lord Brahma. So these were various reasons, various opinions about Krishna's appearance, although he is ajanma and akartru. But still he appears. But now we will see what is the real reason for Krishna's appearance. What Kunti Devi shares now. Yeah. Yesterday we saw that she says that others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea was much agreed when that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and you have appeared in order to diminish this trouble. Further, she says, real reason for Krishna's appearance, bhave asmin kliśyamānānām avidyā-kāma-karmabhiḥ śravaṇa-smaraṇārhāṇi kariṣyann iti kecana. Bhave is this material existence, this material creation. So those who are caught in this material existence, in this material world, so whoever is in this material world, what is the situation? Is kliśyamānānām. Because this material world is dukhalayam. So everyone who is here in this material world caught or trapped, they are suffering. And what is the reason of suffering? Avidya. Avidya is ignorance or nescience. Then on top of avidya, they have unlimited material desires to enjoy, kama, desire. And karmabhiḥ. Karmabhiḥ means they are engaged in fruitive activities. Sakam karma. To relieve them, Krishna came to give them the process of śravaṇa, hearing, smaraṇa, remembering, and worshipping arhāṇi. Hearing, remembering, worshipping. So kariṣyann, one may perform these activities, and yet others say that you appeared in order to renovate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from the material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. This is the real purpose of Krishna's appearance. This is what she is saying. Beautiful verse. Very, very important word and very easy to remember. Bhave asmin kliśyamānānām avidyā-kāma-karmabhiḥ. So what are the three reasons of person getting trapped in this material existence? Is avidya, kama, and karmabhiḥ. And how to get released? Three aspects. śravaṇa-smaraṇārhāṇi, kariṣyan iti kecana. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asserts that He appears in every millennium just to reestablish the way of religion. Dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The way of religion is made by the Supreme Lord. No one can manufacture the new path of religion, as is the fashion for certain ambitious person. The factual way of religion is to accept the Lord as the supreme authority and thus render service unto Him in spontaneous love. So dharma is established by only the Supreme Lord, and those who are the followers of the dharma, what they have to do, they have to accept the authority of the Lord and render service to Him. What is the verse? There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada quotes many, many times about dharma. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranima. That the principles of dharma cannot be man-made. It is not manufactured by anyone. Dharmam tu sakshat. Hare Krishna. Were you able to hear? The verse which talks about how the dharma is established only by the Supreme Lord. No one else can make any dharma. Like Prabhupada is saying here, it is the fashion of the ambitious people, but dharma is established only and exclusively by the Supreme Lord. What is the verse? To sakshat bhagavat pranitam. You know this verse? Balaram Prabhu, can you find out this verse? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Six 3:19. This is the conversation between messengers when they asked Yamaraj to define what is dharma. Yes. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam na ve vidur rishyo na api devaya. The dharma is neither known, na ve vidur rishyo, neither the sages, na api deva, na siddha mukhye asura manushya. What to speak of those who are perfected? Neither the demons, asuras, nor the humans. kuto na vidyadhara charanadaya. So no one, either in the higher planets or on the earthly planets, no one anywhere can establish this principles of dharma. Come to the translation. Show the translation. Translation, bro. Come down. There is some problem with the internet connection, it seems.
Yes, Prabhuji. In my screen, I am able to, but maybe.
Yeah. Now, real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain the real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of Siddhalok, who say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, and vidyadharas and charanas. Very nice purport is there, very interesting. Come down. When challenged by the Vishnu Dutas to describe the principle of religion, the Yamadutas said, Veda Parnito Dharmaha. The religious principles are principles enacted in the Vedic literature. You have to come down. I cannot read. Purport, you have to come down. Show me the lower side of the purport. They did not know, however, that the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies that are not transcendental, but are meant to keep peace and order among the materialistic persons in the material world. Real religion principles are Naistrat Gunya. What is the verse? If you can cite this verse, it will be very, very inspiring. Whatever we have read, it is covered in one verse. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, there is some issue with the internet. It is disconnecting. Can you show the verse again, the purport? You read the verse, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavad Pranita. It is not even known to the great sages or those who are on the higher planetary. So Prabhupada is saying that the Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies that are not transcendental, but are meant to keep peace and order among the materialistic persons in the material world. Real religious principles are Nestran Gunya, above the three modes of material, nature, or transcendental. The Yamaduts did not know these transcendental religious principles. So what is this verse the Prabhupada is explaining? That the Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies which are not transcendental but are kept to make peace and order among materialistic persons. Real religious principles are Nestran Gunya, above the three modes. Which verse is this from Bhagavad Gita? Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, One line I know, Prabhuji. Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna.
Yeah, nahin. Traigunya Vishaya.
Vishya Veda. Yeah.
See, people try to understand that the Vedic literature contains ritualistic ceremonies that are not translated. Why? Because they are Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Vishaya means the subject matter of the Vedas are Traigunya. And then he tells Arjuna, Nistragun Bhava Arjuna. You rise above the three modes. How? Nirdando Nitsatvastho Niryogshema Atmavan. So you have to go beyond the ritualistic ceremonies or the ritualistic portions of the Vedic literatures. So Prabhupada is quoting the Yamdutas did not know these transcendental religious principles. And therefore, when prevented from arresting Ajamil, they were surprised. Materialistic persons who attach all their faith to the Vedic rituals are described in Bhagavad Gita 2.42, wherein Krishna says, Vedavad Rata Partha na anyad asthiti vadina. The supposed followers of the Vedas say that there is nothing beyond the Vedic ceremonies. Indeed, there is a group of men in India who are very fond of the Vedic rituals, not understanding the meaning of these rituals, which are intended to elevate one gradually to the transcendental platform of knowing Krishna. Vedescha sarver ahameva vedte. So those who do not know these principles, but who simply attach their faith to the Vedic rituals are called Vedavadarata. So here Kunti Devi is saying that the purpose of your appearance is to release the conditioned soul from this material existence. And okay, you can close this. And what is the reason for remaining in the material existence? What are the reasons? 3 reasons he said. Avidyā-kāma-karmabhiḥ. It is because of their nescience, ignorance, because of their desires, their unlimited desires for material enjoyment and lording it over the material nature. And they are constantly engaged in fruitive activities, karmabhiḥ. So what Krishna comes to establish the principles of devotional service. And what are the 3 principles she is mentioning here? One is shravanam, the other is smaranam, and third is arhāṇi, is hearing, is remembering and chanting, so that they can be released from this material existence. The factual way of reason is to accept the Lord as the supreme authority and thus render service unto him in spontaneous love. A living being cannot help but render service because he is constitutionally made for that purpose. The only function of the living being is to render service to the Lord. The Lord is great and the living being are subordinate to him. Therefore, the duty of the living being is just to serve him only. But when this is possible, when this proper function of the purpose of human life is possible, Prabhupada says the only function of the living being is to render service to the Lord. Therefore, the duty of the living being is just to serve him only. When it is possible and why it is not possible. Boliye quickly. Reply. Yes, Sonika.
Due to forgetfulness of our real relation with the Supreme Lord.
Yes, when one is in constitutional position, it is natural. But when one is in the conditioned state, it is impossible. Why? Because he does not accept the authority of the Supreme Lord. Unless and until one accepts the authority of the Supreme Lord, where is the possibility of performing devotional service? Today we were discussing the 13th chapter with our new Bhakta, discussing Bhakti Shastri course. So Krishna says, you see, 3 reasons were avidya. And how to remove avidya? is through vidya. And what is the first item of vidya? How to begin the process of vidya? What Krishna recommends? Yes, Ganesh?
Guruji, Acharya Upasanam.
Yeah, Acharya Upasanam, when it is possible, when there is amanitvam. And when is amanitvam possible? When there is actually Acharya Upasanam. Amanitvam, adamhitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam, Acharya Upasanam, shaucham, sthoryam atma vinikriya. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, anahankare vichar. So when the possibilities of humility is there, when there is actually Acharya Upasanam. He does not say, go and take shelter of an Acharya. He said, Acharya Upasanam. Here also the word is arhasi, worshipping. What it means to worship? Worship means that we accept the personality as the authority, the supreme authority, or the supreme personality. Then only it is possible. So she has come, Kunti Devi is saying that the appearance for Krishna is to make the living entity perform his constitutional function. Unfortunately, the illusioned living beings, out of misunderstanding only, become servants of the senses by material desire. This desire is called avidya or nescience. And out of such illegitimate desires, the living being makes different plans for material enjoyment centered about a perverted sex life. He therefore becomes entangled in the chain of birth and death by transmigrating into different bodies on different planets under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Unless, therefore, one is beyond the boundary of these nations, one cannot get free from the threefold miseries of material existence. That is the law of nature. The Lord, however, out of his causeless mercy, because he is more merciful to the suffering living being than they can expect, appears before them, and renovates the principles of devotional service comprised of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, cooperating, and surrendering unto him. Very interesting. All others come from the Navada Bhakti, but there is a new term here Prabhupada mentioned as cooperating. Very difficult in Kali Yuga to have the spirit of cooperation. There is always conflict. There is always dissidence. The Prabhupada is saying to renovate the principle of devotional service, which is hearing, which is shravanam, chanting is kirtanam, remembering is smaranam, serving, worshipping is vandanam. So all this, and in that Prabhupada is also mentioning cooperating. Adoption of all the above mentioned items. You see, very important. Adoption of all the above items or any one of them can help a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of nations. Prabhupada is using a new word, tangle of nations, not entangle. Tangle of nations, and thus become liberated from the material suffering created by the living being, illusioned by the external energy. This particular type of mercy is bestowed upon the living entity by the Lord in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then comes one of the most nectarian verse in all these prayers. Shanvanti gayanti grenanti abhikshnasa smarnanti nandanti tavahite jana taeva pashyanti achirena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padamrudam. So what are the process of devotional service Krishna came to establish and bestow? Shanvanti. Beginning from hearing. Gayanti is glorifying or chanting. Then grihnanti. Grihnanti means to accept. And how it is to be performed? Abhikshnasa. Without interval. Apratiha. Continuously. So if one is continuously hearing and chanting, what he will naturally be doing? Smarananti. Remembering. And when he will have smaran of Krishna, then he will be enlightened and gladdened. Nandanti. Take pleasure. He'll be always in a blissful mood. Tava ihitam jana. When people they engage in these activities. What is the result of engaging in all these transcendental activities? Ta eva pashyanti achirena. So they are able to see you, my Supreme Lord, achirena, without much delay. Tavākamum and Hava Prabhahu. In this Prabha, in this current of birth and river, they will transcend, they will uparamam, they go beyond. Why? Because they accept the shelter of Padampuja, of your lotus feet. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so. Prabhupada's translation is very, very extraordinary. He says, either they continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so. Even if they are not able to do, but when they see others doing it, they are enlightened. Certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Very simple to remember this verse. Shanvanti gayanti grihnanti abhikshnasa smarnanti nandanti tava hitejana taeva pashyanti achirena tavakam bhava prabhavo paramam padam. So see, this is the real reason and why the Supreme Lord is here. And Kunti Devi is glorifying the process which is given by the Supreme Lord. That this process is so potent and so powerful that this process of Shanvanti Gayanti Smarananti, one can always remain surrendered on the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus his material existence is terminated forever. Prabhupada gives the purport. He says the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna cannot be seen by a present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life full of spontaneous love of Godhead. What verse is this? Atay Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahiyam indriya. Lord cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life full of spontaneous love of Godhead. This is another verse. Which verse is this? See, the word vision is very important here. By developing a different condition of full of spontaneous love of God. So which verse is this? बोलो इतना difficult नहीं है. You have heard this verse many times. This is also a prayer. Yes, Sonika.
Prabhuji, is it from Brahma Samhita Premanjana Churit Chakshu Vilochanena?
Bhakti Vilochanena. Santa Sadev Hridayeshu Vilokiyam. Premanjana Charit Bhakti Vilochanena. What is the vision? It is changed. Vision is of spontaneous love. And what is that love? Is to perform devotional service. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets. But they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. The Prabhupada is emphasizing on the vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only. Beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that the first item, Shravan, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized person may be very learned by academic qualification, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Prabhupada is emphasizing how to have the proper effect of hearing. Sometimes they fashionably interpret the text to suit their own purpose. There is so much of addition or so-called innovation. Prabhupada says fashionable interpretation. So if one is hearing from such persons who do that, then it is just sheer waste of time. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. See the glory of hearing. Prabhupada is saying when the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided, again condition, there are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. So much is dependent on the process of hearing. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealing with his conjugal associate, the Gopis, and his married wives at Dwarka are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealing with the Gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feeling of the hearer. So a bona fide speaker of the dealing of the Lord never indulges in such hearing. What Prabhupada is saying? A bona fide speaker of the dealing of the Lord never indulges in such hearing. Neither he hears nor he speaks about it. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scripture. And that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealing with the Gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with Him. Hearing all the scripture is essential. Okay, so I'll stop here. If you can keep pace so far in terms of your memorization of the verses, it is excellent. We have crossed more than 50% now, almost 50% done. The verse number is which one today? 37, yeah, more than 50% done. 36 is done. See, today's verse is very simple. Bhave asmin kliśyamānānām. Why he appears? To release one from the suffering of this material existence, and whoever is in the material existence is suffering. And what is the reason for suffering? Avidyā-kāma-karmabhiḥ. 3 reasons. Avidyā-kāma-karmabhiḥ. And what Krishna propagates? The 3 processes. Śravaṇa, smaraṇa, and arhāṇi. Kariṣyann iti kecana. If one performs these 3 activities of devotional service, he can be released. And the next verse is Shanvanti Gayanti Grehananti Abhikshmasa Smananti Nandanti Tavai Kecana. It is Shanvanti Gayanti Grehananti. Grehananti is those who accept. This word Grehananti also comes in other verses also. Those who are sadhva, they accept what the Supreme Lord gives. And smarananti and nandanti, they always take pleasure. Taeva pashyanti achirena tavata hava prabhaho paramam pradhan. Okay, so I'll stop here. From your side, if there is any contribution, question or discussion, please go ahead. अभी maximum हो गया. We have covered more than 70%. But you have to, what you have to do, you have to practice. Continue practicing. मैं आगे खींच नहीं रहा हूँ. I am just taking normally 2 verses or 3 verses maximum, so that we can keep up making an effort. नहीं तो mind will block us. इसे तो बहुत ज्यादा हो गया, अभी होगा नहीं. ज्यादा कुछ है ही नहीं, थोड़ा ही है. थोड़े की जरूरत है. बस यही करना है और कुछ नहीं करना है. और कैसे करना है? देखो, सब कुछ दिया है प्रभुपाद जी ने. क्या करना है? श्रीमद् भागवतम सुनना है, भगवत गीता सुनना है. और कैसे सुनना है? सब कुछ दिया और हम बिल्कुल वैसे ही चलेंगे. हमें और कुछ नहीं करना है. बाकी जिसको जो करना है करता रहे. वी आर लीस्ट बॉदर्ड. वर्स बाय वर्स, परपोर्ट बाय परपोर्ट चलेंगे. बोला, जो भागेगा, जो उछलेगा, जो कूदेगा, जो नाटक करेगा, वो डूब जाएगा, वो रह जाएगा. वो कुछ नहीं प्राप्त करेगा. He will not be able to achieve anything. और कुंती देवी बोल रही है, अचिरेना तावता. ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा. भगवान खुद बोल रहे हैं. हम कहीं भी कुछ भी शब्द, कुछ भी शास्त्र उठाएं, हमें इसका हर जगह से प्रमाण मिलता है. We get the substantiation from every chapter, every verse that we study. Is the process of hearing. And so powerful is the process. You see, in all this prayers, what is glorified? What actually is glorified by Kunti Devi is the process of hearing. And why Krishna has appeared? To establish the process of devotional service. And what is the devotional service? The most important thing is hearing. And Prabhupada is saying, if this one process is perfected, all others are automatically done. This is a single stroke process for complete perfection. Hare Krishna. So I'm very thankful. All of you are committed for hearing. Any other activity in our life, whether it continues or not, is not important. See, so many places Prabhupada is writing that his only activity is to perform devotional service. And the devotional service, the most powerful thing, three things Kunti Devi is saying is śravaṇa, smaraṇa, and arhāṇi. Again and again, the process of hearing is glorified. Hare Krishna. Bolo, kuch bolna hai? I met one devotee today. I met him after a very, very long time. He is one of those close group devotees. We were together in this process of śravaṇa. I met him today in the evening. He came to temple. And I shared with him that by the grace of our teacher, this śravaṇa will continue. And he was so happy. He was so happy to hear this. I told him we try to hear every day. So if we can continue this till the existence of our life, all the verses, all the topmost devotees and the Supreme Lord himself assured what will be the destination. Some of you are fixed, but some of you are not fixed. I don't know why. Why they have not understood the message after being repeated so many times. Well, everyone has his own choice. Okay, so I'll stop here. We will continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.